it's something that I've been involved in for about 8 or 9 years now in total. I was originally the town planner that got all the approvals for the place, so that was my initial involvement. Part of that process there, I was involved through the construction phase and obviously the operational aspects of setting up, getting everything running. So construction-wise, we're about 3 years in the build. We're a bit over an hour out of Cairns. Cairns would be a difficult place to locate a track because of the weather mainly. It's very hot, it's even hotter than up here, and very wet. So I think it had to be up here, to be honest. And yeah, look, people are happy to do the trip out here and support it. We always encourage a lot of camping though as well, so rather than just sort of coming out for a few hours, we try and make a whole weekend of it. And I think, given this location, I think you need to do that. Oh, it's got to be up there, I think. We've got the scenery around here, the mountains, obviously. Yeah, I think it's a pretty awesome place. I personally haven't been to a better looking track, with better sort of scenery than this. Yeah.
You've got a lot of mountains in the background. It's a really cool vibe to be here.
See this big open country with the rolling mountains and everything like that. It's like, oh wow, like it's God's country.
There's nothing like this in Australia. We've been all around Australia, and there's not a backdrop, there's not a facility like this, so it's pretty cool.
We left here excited last year to come back again. It was just fantastic.
Oh, it's a beautiful place, beautiful outlook, brand new track in the middle of nowhere.
Take a look around, the place is beautiful.
But I think this year's just going to be awesome. I think we've ironed out all the bugs, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one.
To come to somewhere in Australia that's going to turn out to be an iconic track in years to come is just fantastic.
Yeah, I think it gives us an opportunity to put something awesome on up here. I just don't think we'd see anything like this otherwise. Without GC support, we wouldn't have this quality of racing up here. So obviously, big thanks to Graham. I mean, there's nothing else really like it in the country. I don't think that for regional areas that we could actually afford to put on for that, to that calibre.
The second time ever, the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Car Circus heads to the beautiful Springmount Raceway here in Cairns, and we've got 11 cars and one new one with this guy right here, Justin Walsh. Justin, really looking forward to this round, and tell us about this new hot rod you've got.
Mate, we're super glad to be back up here at Springmount Raceway. Beautiful piece of Australian turf, it's just magic. The best backdrop in any track we've ever seen. New car, 69 Camaro. Look, it's a proven chassis. It's not the same chassis as the old car that I was in, Let's Boogie, so it's a new chassis, new body combo. We're hoping to hit 270 mile an hour with this body. That's the whole theory behind it, to see how fast we can get it to go. This place has got everything going for it. Picturesque, can't beat it. The actual layout of the track, everything, the venue, the staging lanes, the pits, they've really put some thought into it. Now they've run some good lighting down the track and they're really starting to step up.
Picturesque racetrack and one of the most exciting shows in town. This is the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars getting set to salute the crowd as we fire up this Nitro.
Such a unique part of this show, Chad, isn't it? That it's all geared to appealing to spectators, from basically knee-high variety to those who are getting around in a Zimmer frame. It's all about going fast and loud and having a good time.
Great to have Wade Ornger for company here as we check out this crowd that is continuing to grow as we get closer and closer to round number one. Kids hanging off the fence, enjoying the sights and sounds and smell of Nitro.
Fan salute always goes off, doesn't it, where you fire up all those cars at once. And the wheel standers are such a huge hit with the kids. They're getting some really impressive speeds out of these things too. Considering we're only on 2 wheels at the time, those guys are crazy.
Driving those cars, looking through the floor and wowing the crowds here once again. Great to have the Sheriff and the rocket ship ready to go. Time to fire up the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars.
I think they've been counting down the days since this time last year when the event was here. Massive turnout from the community. It's a real community that travels with the whole series too, Chad. That's one thing I really loved about the round that I went to, is just getting that sense of everybody, every team wants to beat up on each other on the track, but off the track, it's a real sense of we're all in this together to get that reaction from the fans.
Yeah, I think they're ready. I think they're ready for this. And they'll be kicking it off in style with one of the best and on a hot streak right now, Rick Dorsey in Nitro Express.
Cool to see the new car on board as well, the Terminator. This guy really is unstoppable, isn't he? I think Shane Olive is really the only guy that's seriously given him something to think about over the last couple of years. Ooh, Justin Walsh.
I like it.
He'll be back.
Up against Nitro Express. Well, he said he's unbeatable at the moment, Wade. You're not wrong. 3 event wins on the trot, looking for a, well, what would be a series-topping 4th here today. Can Rick Dorsey do it? How will he go up against this brand new combination, the Terminator?
Interesting you say on the trot, because that's what he used to do. He used to be one of those guys that hangs off the back of a trotter, and very successful at that with horses as well, but we're dealing with significantly more horsepower now. I love down the side of the Terminator. Hasta la vista, baby. Check that out. Very, very cool. You can still see those Aeroflow flags in the background. Quite windy here. It was dramatically windy last year, but the boys are ready this time.
Nothing like the first time you hear Nitro for the day. Hold on tight. Feel this for power.
Man, Walsh in some trouble, I think, but not Rick. He goes right down the centre, a 596, almost 370 kilometres an hour.
A nice pass from Nitro Express. It looked to be putting out some cylinders down on the left bank of that engine, but the crowd are happy to see 5 seconds up on the boards to kick things off. So, very late making that shift, almost right at the finish line. Typically, you'd want to be making that shift into top gear a little bit earlier than that. I think it was just battling with the wheel speed on Nitro Express. The Terminator went right towards the fence, had to get out of the throttle. That's 3 points to Rick Dorsey.
Yeah, it's ominous signs already for the rest of the field, isn't it, when Rick comes out and wraps up a good one on the first pass.
Plenty more action to come. We are just getting started here in Springmount. Do not go away. The action's coming to you from Springmount Raceway.
Oh. Never get sick of that sound, Chad. Ariga in Queensland, near Cairns. A gorgeous spot. LA Hooker arrives for duty. Anthony Begley up against one bad Kiwi. There's probably been a few bad Kiwis in Cairns over the years with that enormous amount of backpackers that travel through the region.
Well, you couldn't get 2 competitors from further apart in this series, one from Perth and one from New Zealand, although calls Sydney, Australia home these days, Maurice McMillan. This event marks 12 months since he got his hands on his first trophy in this category. Let's see how he goes today. Remember, it's not elimination-style racing. You keep driving no matter what happens, but you get 3 points for a win, and it'll be the drivers with the most points who square off at the end of the night for the first place trophy.
Great crowd in the house yet again. Second bite of the cherry at having this event here as well. Hooker, ready to come in. McMillan to the right of your screen. Nothing in at the lights. This is a good drag race.
It's LA Hooker who gets the win. One bad Kiwi. Wow, that had the wobbles on going across the finish line. Track conditions do look difficult. Just watch one bad Kiwi here, left of frame. Had cylinders out on the left-hand side. It took a huge step over to the wall as a result. Good drive job to get it to the finish line, but it's 3 points to the LA Hooker.
Still a cool shot, isn't it, when you look over the top of them and Kiwi's got the tail hanging out. We're doing 200 mile an hour. Got to love that. Shane Olive, this guy is Mr. Consistency. And that is the Stormtrooper. What's so cool about this series, each team has its own apparel, has its own shirts that mirror the car itself. And look at those eyes. We're on board with the Red Devil. Shane Olive here to do business, much like Greg Lay, a great drag racing family, the Lays.
Yeah, actually met his wife up in Cairns. We lived here in the 80s, did Greg. So loves to come back up here, loved being here for the first time. When we were racing here 12 months ago, took some time off with his wife to enjoy the surroundings. Oh no, he's headed to the fence and may have even scraped the wall. And Olive will cruise on down and collect 3 points. That was wild.
It was an electric start for him. He really got out of the hole. Now, discussion here with Graham Cowan, just off to the right. He lit the thing up, leaving the line, and then, wow.
That car launched hard right, particularly when it got off the concrete pad. It shook the tyres really hard. Great example there of where the concrete ends and the rest of this tarmac-style racetrack continues on. It's very porous race surface here, so not a lot of contact patch from the tyre to the track. It's only a new venue, and I think we're starting to see that lack of grip there.
What a great character this guy is. Massinio, the dark horse. He's just a weapon.
And he's up against a guy looking for his first round win. In Insanity, Dark Horse has been there, done that, collected heaps of points and trophies along his way. So for Harold Campbell, a Queenslander, this will be a tough matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta love the way he goes about his racing, a real family style operation. Massinio, you would think, is favoured to take this one, but you just never know in Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny car action. Straight down the middle to start with, but it got ugly towards the end. Oh,
man.
Is that a quick step?
Nitro cars do not like that kind of punishment, but anything to get to the finish line first for the Dark Horse. They're scratching their heads at the end of that one. Let's just listen to this.
It looked good to start with, Chad. He was right down the guts.
Man. Maybe 7 or 8 times I heard that throttle getting slapped. That is vicious stuff for Paul Massinio. Got the win, though.
This guy's impressive, isn't he? Josh Lay, only a young man. Wicked-looking car. Speaking of, as that mate would say, a wicked-looking car, the Avenger. There's so much colour and pageantry. The drag racing is an important part of what we're doing, but it's right alongside the word entertainment.
Car that was originally driven by Aaron Hambridge in this series in Season 1, the Bandit. Gotta love the movie themes right now. Dan Donnelly now. First time we've had the Donnelly brothers competing together in a funny car event. Watch for that transition from light to dark on that surface. Very difficult for these teams there.
Jeez, Bandit just hosed him off the line. Donnelly, not exactly a good reaction time. A 6:04 at almost 390 kilometres an hour for Lay.
Well, it's, not world record times here, Wade. 6:04, but it was fairly clean. And to be able to achieve that, he would have been driving using the handbrake pretty much the whole way down. This would be a great example. Looking at the right hand, reaching over for that handbrake. Actually, he couldn't find it, needed 2 or 3 attempts at it. Eventually grabbed top gear, grabbed the parachutes. That was a busy run, just hanging onto it.
There is nothing about that view that appeals to me in any way inside that car. How is that fun? You're going Mark 3 with your hair on fire, you can't get the handbrake, you got to get the chute, and you got to point your thing down the middle. These guys are next level.
Jake Donnelly's pointing at there's something on the windscreen right now. It's like a sticker or something. Everyone else looking for what he's pointing at. He can clearly see it. He's saying, I can't see, there's a sticker on the windscreen. There it is, thank you. We're good to get the Bumblebee going.
Hasn't this family got 100% invested in this sport too? The brothers, mum and dad, travel on the road, that massive big hauler that they have. Got a better kitchen inside that thing than most homes do in Queensland.
He's definitely the extroverted of the 2 Donnelly brothers.
I was going to say the gangster. How's the tunes just then?
Labouring down, and it was out of the groove, had to have a pedal. Still goes 6:32, reasonably good speed, nearly 400 k's an hour, and hard on those brakes through the finish line.
There's a constant here, isn't there, Chad? Everyone having trouble hooking up. You can tell no one is just ripping down the middle. Gorsey, maybe, but everyone else has had their share of dramas getting on the sticky stuff.
Round 1 is complete, and Rick Gorsey, the standout performer after that first round here in Cairns. But Shane Olive, Josh Lay, there's a heap of contenders at this stage. So much to see and do. How about the Coranda Skyrail here in far north Queensland? We're going to check in with the teams after round 1. Stick around after this.
It was an exciting run. It left decent. I obviously driving it on the brake, so you've got to control that wheel speed. Once it got out there a fair distance, I started to let go of the brake and started turning the tyres and dropping a hole. So dropping a hole, dropping a cylinder. So it was only running on 7 cylinders.
So it's a bit slippery out there, a bit hot, but you know, we got it down there. I was on the brake up until half track, then plucked in the second gear. 6.0 at 240, you know, it's not a record-setting number, but A to B, and that's all we wanted for today. So couldn't be happier, really.
I got held out stage, but other than that, it was pretty good. A couple of cylinders didn't fire the whole way down. We'll work on fixing that.
It was a good run, got a bit loose. We had to hold the brake for a fair bit, which means I couldn't really shift gears to a fair way down the track because I just couldn't get the RPM up.
Mate, first run we had Rick Gorsey, always a good guy to race. He's one of the quickest in the field. We had a bit of an issue where it put a few cylinders out, which means maybe we had too much fuel, which means the spark plug doesn't fire. So on this run, we're going to give it a little less fuel, and it's that simple by changing this little jet here. And I don't know if you can see that hole, but that's going to make a difference by using that size hole.
That run there, sort of, it was a bit of my drive error. I left on the brake and I got about 400 feet and I thought I'll just brain fade, just let it go. Then it went into tyre shake spin and just hang on and punch top. It was just a crazy ride. Couldn't see Harold, so I thought, no, we'll just keep going.
Who next?
My little mate, Begley.
I launched a bit late because old Morris has been giving me a hard time because every time I've ever run him, I've always red lit against him. Most of the time, it's been the light's fault, but he reckons it's just me being nervous. So I gave him plenty of a head start then. I waited till it was green and he was on his way and just run him down and went past him. So it's all you can do. Better luck next time, Morris.
Oh, that was good. We had my mate Biggs. I think I had him to a half. He was sleeping on the tree, so I might as well leave him there.
We had a solo, which was a pretty good way to sort of start the meet off. I haven't driven this car for like 10 months, so it's a good bit of a refresher course. And next round got Shane Olive, so may as well start at the top and work your way down.
The track's a little bit green compared to the other bigger tracks that we go to, so we actually make too much power. So the way that we drive these cars is to pull the handbrake on, and I just wasn't pulling hard enough.
What it is essentially equaling today is some wild runs and good side-by-side action, but man, these drivers are earning their keep.
Pretty quietly spoken dude is Justin Walsh, but hoping to make the results speak loudly on track. Terminator, a great new addition to the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Car Circus. Here, just not far out of Cairns in far north Queensland. Morris McMillan, the Kiwi. Cool shot, this. Crew cam.
Teams have quite a bit to do actually in the lead up to one of these runs. Make sure that roof flaps are down just there. Also take off the throttle stop, which is used during the burnout. Then send them on their way.
Just send it. Is it the last thing they generally say to them? Waiting for Terminator to come into line now. McMillan furthest from our camera.
Both cars putting out cylinders, and wow, McMillan, he took a huge step towards the centre line, and that was the difference. The win goes to the Terminator.
Like you said, it wasn't exactly a pretty run, but fairly even drag race, even considering that. I guess because they both had similar problems, it kept it pretty level, didn't it?
Because they're spinning the tyres the way they are, takes all the load off the engine, pours fuel into the cylinders, and that's why they're dropping cylinders like this today. You can see that fuel hosing. And for McMillan, he's dropped at least 2 cylinders there at the left-hand side. You take away half of that thrust, and the car is going to move in that direction. So that's exactly what happened there. Good drive job just to straighten that thing back up.
There's so many factors at play in 6 seconds. That's what's crazy. The environmental factors, the handling of the car, the tuning of the engine, the grip on the actual racetrack. It's phenomenal what you have to get your head around in literally 6, hopefully 5 seconds.
In that confined space too. 3 points here, up for grabs. Both drivers already with a win to their name today. It's not just the track that's difficult today, Wade, the air as well. Round 1, we're in 5,000 foot of air. Now you want that number to be as close or even below 0 in ideal conditions, so not a lot of oxygen to burn up here.
Last minute adjustments. The Bumblebee shirts look cool, don't they? Chutes are packed. Wow, Donnelly in trouble, not the devil. straight down the middle, a 5.94. So we're into the fives for Olive. Donnelly, that thing just squared left.
Yeah, on that transition again, I think that was about 200 foot of racetrack where the surface changes. Donnelly's car took a hard step to the left. He's on the right-hand side here. A lot of handbrake work for the Red Devil.
That's all one-handed. Olive is driving that entire run one-handed.
And he goes through now to round 3 on the perfect 6 points. So he's in contention for first place today as we drop the body on Insanity.
Every time you line up alongside this guy, you have to bring your A game, don't you?
Laid back up here in this part of the world. Check out the website for more info. See if this show is going to visit your town. You do not want to miss it.
Harold gets the coolest music. I like that.
Well, he is the underdog in this one with a capital U and an underline in bold italics.
But he just loves it, doesn't he, though? He just loves it. You can't keep him away from it.
He's getting closer and closer to that breakthrough first round win. Got the short straw here in round 2. Nitro Express already on 3 points, and it's tuned by the man himself, Graham Cowan.
You're pretty well facing an uphill battle, aren't you? What can Rick do this time? Or will a little bit of insanity prevail here at Springmount?
Whoa, first car across the centre line for the day. That was crazy. Yeah, before the 3:30 markers, and that is another comfortable flat 6 from Nitro Express. So edged into the 5s earlier. He's backed it up there. Full bank of points. Heading through to the final round. Looking the goods here once again.
Shane Olive will wander down to that pit area. Just remind him that he was outside the 5s. It veered hard right, didn't it? It's not very often you see a car cross the centre line that early. Really took a tree globe with him.
Refused to give up. Again, 7 times at least on the throttle. Wow, so huge pedal for Rick Gorsey. So they've still got a little bit of work to do to find that right tune-up for Nitro Express. We're working our way through round number 2. The camaraderie, it's, well, there for everyone to see. Second half of this round's coming up. The Nitro cackle of LA Hooker. One of our famous cars racing in the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny cars. About to light it up here in Springmount Raceway, far north Queensland.
This is the battle we've been waiting for, isn't it? Messinio against Beggs. Messinio from the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Messinio looks like the guy that just knocked off your Harley, but he's actually a really kind of a cool cat, very proud granddad. In fact, he always has his grandkids on the dash of the Dark Horse. Appearances can sometimes be deceiving, can't they?
Never judge a book.
Oh, who am I kidding? He isn't, though. But it's good fun. And Beggs will run him hard. This is a great grudge match. Fantastic crowd. They're starting to fill in here now. Crystal skies. And hopefully a 5 here. Beggs is good.
Good race. Good drag race. A big half-track pedal for Dark Horse cost him the win, and Begley and LA Hooker will go to round number 3 on the full allotment of 6 points. But that was a cracker.
Gotta admit, I thought that Messinio had him at one point there, I think early on. But as you're right, the car got unsettled. Here's where he had him. Although Beggs will say, no, had him covered the whole time.
Well, topic of the day, tyre shake. Snuck into the rear tyres of the Dark Horse from the crowd's point of view. Man, he gathered it up quickly. And big time speed through the finish line. Moving on through on 6 points. That's exactly what you want to do.
You talk about rivalries too, Chad. You talk about the rivalries between different drivers. You'd have to think there's a little bit of sting if the Donnelly boys line up alongside each other too. This kid continues to get better and better. Came in, I think, at the Motorplex, didn't he, debut in this series? And he's never looked back.
Meanwhile, down in the deep end, Messinio and Begley debrief. is from an era of drag racing that I think is just so cool. You know, the early 90s. What a weapon it is. Great to have this young driver behind the wheel. Used to be the old Melanie Troxel In-N-Out burger car.
Yep.
Big fan of your old school NHRA.
I think it's still got the entrance sticker on the car there somewhere as well. I think they kept that just for that little bit of authenticity. A couple of real young guns of the series right here.
Just working on that idle, making sure that the air and fuel mixture is perfect. Once it's there, it's time to move into stage.
Lay is probably the most consistent. This is a new package for the Donnelly, so Dan could pull off a big upset here, but Bandit may well be odds on. Waiting for them to just edge to the line. Good night.
Gee, that's a huge reaction time advantage. Oh, but he'll chase him down from half track onwards. What happened there for the Bandit? The show was over before half track. He had such a huge advantage.
Wow. You just never know, do you? Jeez, Lay had that shot to bits.
Wow, just went hard left and got out of the throttle. That was enough to send 3 points over to the Avenger.
Good drive job to keep it off the concrete, but Donnelly avenges himself and takes a nice 6:45, considering the circumstances.
Completion of round 2 sees 3 drivers on 6 points: Rick Gorsey, Shane Olive and Anthony Begley. Rick Gorsey didn't have the perfect round this time. Shane Olive, the only 5-second performer.
So yeah, I started out in the Nitro Sheriff wheel stander. Did that for about a couple of years, and I just kept looking at these Nitro funny cars going, man, I want to steer. They just look so badass. The sensation is just like, you know, like the Wile E. Coyote, how he gets shot out of a rocket. It's similar to that, you know. People say that, yeah, it is like getting shot out of a rocket, but you can't really explain what it's like to drive a Nitro funny car. It's just unreal, you know. It's probably the acceleration that you can't explain to people. Speed, yes, but acceleration is just, you know, you just can't explain to someone else. That was pretty cool. It was quite fast, and at the time it made us, I guess, it made the Bandit the second quickest car in the series. So hopefully today though, you know, we should see some pretty fast times up here in Springmount.
He's been dreaming for years to be able to drive one of these things, and Graham's just given us the opportunities that nobody else I've ever seen in drag racing in Australia has given people. Just ordinary people like us. It's incredible, incredible to be involved.
You're proud?
Oh, mate, the proudest bloke here tonight, let me tell you.
The emotion that Dad had, he just said he was so proud, really. So to have a son that's out driving a Nitro funny car for Graham Cowan, that's just bloody awesome. Definitely an event to remember forever, really.
The Vanquished, your thoughts?
Oh, look, I call it the best race I've ever lost. It was so much fun, you know, like it left, I looked around, he wasn't there, I held the brake on a bit tight, I thought, I can let it go now. Bad move. It started the shakes, I've grabbed, I've seen Beggs out the front, I'm pushing as hard as I could. And I thought, nah, we've run out of racetrack, it's all over.
The old reaction times are pulling back a bit. Old Paul left on me big time there, which I'll have to give him that. So as far as the start line, he nailed me there. And I just seemed to be that little bit behind him, but I was mashing it as hard as I could. And then all of a sudden, I had a bit of a pedal where I'm pretty sure Paul had one, and I just seemed to come out of it better than him. I drove round him.
I know you hate losing to this guy, but you love putting on a show.
It's all about the show. Winning's not everything.
We just want to put on a really good show. So have the two Chevs, last pairing of the night, fighting it off for that #1 trophy.
It's all about fun, but the two people inside the car in this run, it's not about fun.
Yeah, there's a bit of rivalry.
So I guess we'll find out the exciting saga at the end of this round. Yeah,
We'll let
someone's
you know.
going to have a really, really bad trip home.
You're flying.
Yeah.
I'm driving, so I'll take the
Either-
trophies
either
anyway.
way. Thank you.
4 drivers in contention for the win. Sun setting up here in Queensland. Stick around.
Hi, I'm Maurice McMillan, driver of the One Bad Kiwi Nitro Funny Car. We're just going to talk today a bit about a couple of things. What makes Nitro Funny Cars what they are, which is A, nitro, and B, the big supercharger or blower sticking out the hood. The myth though is that this is the supercharger. This is not. This is what we call the injector hat. It lets the air in to the supercharger. What does the injector hat do? It controls the air that goes into the blower. With the foot off the throttle, these butterflies are closed. Once you slam the throttle open, these open, air goes into the motor. Once the air gets through the injector hat, it gets to the supercharger. Now, contrary to popular belief, you cannot turn blowers on and off. I know Mad Max did it, but they are attached to the engine through a drive belt. So the speed the engine goes is the speed the blower goes. Once the air gets to the top of the supercharger, these rotors here are spinning and they force as much air as possible down into the manifold.
Great to bust a few myths about superchargers and how they work, and they are the secret to how drag cars produce so much power. Add nitro, and it is one awesome combination.
Can we call him that now? Can he be the Mythbuster of the Nitro Funny Car series?
The Mothbuster.
Love the way the kids show up. This is where it gets cool, Chad. When day goes into night and we start getting some header flames, going to be very cool. The Stormtrooper, Greg Lay, has been solid so far. I wonder how the nighttime conditions will be different to the guys hooking up earlier in the day. That's handy. That's handy.
That thing looked mean across the finish line. Nearly 350 k's per hour. And good to see. They actually had some parachute issues in their solo run in round number 2. They fixed that up nicely. A cool view from up above down at the end of the track. That's a nice run from the Stormtrooper. A good way to finish his event.
Yeah, absolutely. So the sparks coming out from the undercarriage then when it left the line. That's just cool when you got flames either side, isn't it? That's what you want. The whole way down, you just want to see those gnarly flames. Fans of all ages love this stuff. Maurice McMillan, he really needs to get a win here. Up against Insanity, could go either way.
Well, 2 drivers that are pretty hungry for some points tonight. One Bad Kiwi's had that issue with dropping cylinders, had a couple of holes go out on the left-hand side of that motor last time round. And for Insanity, well, it's just been that. It's been insane. That last run across the centre line. Hopefully a cleaner pass coming here for the popular Queenslander.
Got a bit of JB Automotive sticking down the side of the car there. There's a fairly legendary engine operator in Queensland side of things. What can McMillan do here? Really needs to bang 3 points on. That's a cool shot, isn't it? Oh, no!
Oh! Well, hang on, this isn't over yet.
Wow!
And Insanity will crawl there and gets the win with an 8:47. It's one of the slower times to ever win a race. It was an awesome drag race, and he gets his first round win. Congratulations. Insanity bags himself 3 points for the first time. Oh, that is wild stuff.
Anything can and will happen in this series. That's what I love about it. What a great moment for the Insanity team. They will be loving that. Man, it was brutal, wasn't it?
That was a cool drag race. Let's just watch this one more time. Well, the excitement in this final round building up, getting closer to the drivers who are on 6 points.
I like it. This could go either way too. This is a really interesting matchup right here. I don't think we've seen the best of Donnelly just yet. And Lay, well, we thought he had the last one shot to bits, and that didn't work out. So this, too, is anybody's guess. Love that crackle.
Big flame from the Bandit and huge speed across the finish line. 384, well, but only one shoot, if that half a shoot maybe. And on the brake hard, into the sand, it stays on all fours, thankfully. But the chutes, it got tangled, or maybe the bolt came out and went through one of them, I'm not sure, but thankfully he's okay.
Man, I was worried that thing was going to get sideways in the trap and would have gone over.
Yeah, he did a really good job at keeping his cool. Now, the parachutes don't hit all that hard up here anyway because the air is so thin. And this was doing big speed, so let's first ride on board with the Bandit. Big pedal, bit of clutch dust in the car. Hooked up nicely at the finish line. It's that eerie silence until you start getting the chatter of those rear wheels, and he was into that gravel trap in a heartbeat.
Oh, this is the angle. Gee, look how close Bumblebee got to the wall as well.
That's it, it lost a chute. And I think when one chute's come off, it's actually disturbed the other one as well. So just not collecting any air. And he kept his calm.
Yeah.
But gee, that was a scary, scary moment for the Bandit. And when you hit the gravel that hard, you can damage the body, but hopefully it's okay.
Wow, that had to be a scary moment.
Yeah, it was a hairy handful moment. I mean, it was hauling and I could feel it. Pulled the chutes, you know, on the line. Unfortunately, one didn't pop and we've ended up in the sand trap. But you can see the skid marks there. Like, I was trying to pull it up as much as I could, but it just didn't happen.
We could see the brake rotors were bright as coming in here as well.
Yeah, I was on that brake, trust me. So coming in at speed, it's a little bit daunting, but this is what happens. So anyway, it's racing and we've had fun today, despite this. So thanks.
Well, we're off to a quick break. We've still got the winners to find. Thankfully, everyone's okay down there in the gravel trap. You do not want to miss who's going to win up here at Springmount. Finishing this night off in style, and we are competing for trophies. The final round, Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny cars coming to you from Springmount Raceway.
I love the way the Terminator just rolls out of the shadows into the light. Avenger, after an upset win, it should be said, in the second round.
Now, a bit of a delay here since we had a car in the sand trap, and the air is changing all the while, and it actually looks like it's starting to really form up on these windscreens. Quite a lot of condensation out there, typical Queensland night. So just in case you wanted to make things a bit more difficult, take a bit of visibility away.
It's just crazy. They have so many things they've got to think about. The crew desperately trying to hook these cars up. That's been the most telling factor, is who can glue the car to the middle the best. Donnelly from the rear in that right-hand lane. Nothing in it. Oh, man! That was ugly. How about the tyre shake for Terminator?
Man.
I know Avenger got the wall, but man, that thing was bunny hopping.
Pack of Panadol kind of race, that one. Both guys going for a wild ride. The Avenger definitely got the fence. And the Terminator had its own troubles out there in the left-hand lane as well.
Jeez, that was just epic, wasn't it?
Now then, 2 drivers on 6 points. The event winner could come from this drag race. Some of the most experienced guys too. The experienced runners are really rising up.
And it's a random draw too. It's not like seeded or anything like that, the way that they match up. It's all done at the start of the day. They literally draw numbers. So you can come up against someone twice or not race them for many rounds. Oh, Beggs is gone. Should rack this one up. Oh!
Wow, whole shot win, first of the night. So gets the job done with the better reaction time. That is a monster run. What a great drag race.
So to fans that are new to this kind of sport, Chad, the car that finished isn't necessarily the winner, right?
You're always first to the finish line in a drag race is going to get the win. Look at those brakes lighting up in the opposite lane, but because he left the finish line first, his slower ET didn't matter. got to the finish line there anyway. That was a killer drag race.
All I can say is I hope.
So, with a time of 6.48, you won that race.
Mint, 6.48.
That's what I've been told.
You get it. Mate, 6.48. Geez, I hope the sheds go slower than that, but I can't see it.
Yeah, it must have been close. It would have had to be close.
Of course, it's you two, stooges.
Yeah. I think I've got him.
Pair of West Aussies in commentary, that word mint is just straight out of Sorrento, isn't it? I think we're the only people in the country that understand that word. It's a nightclub, it's a flavour of chewy, and it describes emotion in WA.
With something very cool. Now, this is cool. The last race tonight. The scenario, simple. Whoever wins this race needs to go quicker than 6:48 to win the event.
How fitting it's these two. This is going to be a great battle to round out the night.
I hope you got your fingers crossed for me.
Yeah.
Hey?
The Heckle and Jekyll of Nitro Funny Car Racing, those two.
Wow, they've brought their A game. Olive lifts off first, and the Nitro Express gets there with the quickest ET of the night. Never mind a 6:48, he has smoked it. And that is Graham Cowan tune-up right there. That is incredible. He's seen these conditions before. He's been around. He's raced in America. Incredible.
Gee, Shano.
Oh, a bit too early. Hey? He got me, eh? Yeah.
He held it, he held it.
Nothing any better than this, Chad. Side by side, all the way down.
Well, drag races are usually won by who's first to stand on the gas. I think this one was won by who was the last off the gas. There you go, the lights go out for the Red Devil. Gorsey holds his nerve, takes the win, and gets the event too.
We're ecstatic about how this all ended up tonight. Track's magnificent now. They've cooled down a bit. The numbers are there. The crowd's there. You couldn't ask for anything better. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah, well said, Rick. Shane, still with that pedal, you're saying? A good result, and good result for the fans, you two running a nice stay-out run like that.
Yeah, it was. That was my mistake. I messed up on that run. I got over towards the wall and I seen the white light there and I thought I was on it. Got off it and the white light was still there. I'm like, the finish line ain't there yet. But anyway, hey, Rick deserved it. What a show we've put on, you know, all these cars. It's just been a great meeting.
That wraps up another big night, another huge event. Remember to check out the website and see if the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars are coming to your town. And remember, you can always watch now, free on the live stream. We hope you've enjoyed the action from Springmount Raceway. We hope to be seeing you again real soon.